remember when I was a kid, it seemed like the entire world just seemed better when it would rain. When it would rain, I would run to go and splash in the puddles. It didn't matter how wet I would get. I just wanted that moment of joy. Because those moments of joy would melt away the moments of anxiety from needles from the doctor, or my dad being sick. Those moments of joy from playing together and having fun together would reinforce the idea that life was something so beautiful and so much bigger than you. When you're a child, you believe that you can change the world. Your biggest worry is how you can fight in a pillow fight, but you never think that one day you'll be living in a world that is fighting. You'd never think that you would be living in this world that is hurting. Somewhere you lost that peace and that drive. You lost that idea that you were going to be something great. Maybe because of the verbal abuse that you've suffered. Maybe because of the feelings of inadequacy that you've had to endure. Maybe the physical abuse that you've gone through. Or maybe it's from the suffering that you've had to endure. You've constantly worked so hard to prove that you are someone, but the color of your skin makes others think that you are no one. There's nothing fair about that. There's nothing right about that. When you're a child, you don't think that when you grow up, you're going to be judged on who your parents were or what your heritage is or where you came from. You just see life for what it really is, this beautiful, abundant gift from God. But somehow we lose that. We lose sight of what it really is. When you're a child, you believe that you can change the world. You believe that each raindrop matters. But as you age into the person that you are today, that belief fades. Suddenly, that inadequacy takes over the voice of peace that once was there. You long to get back to it. You long to be a part of the peaceful narrative that is your life. So how? How do we change the world? It's one by one. When we take a stand against what is wrong, when we join our hands together in prayer and we trust in the great God who is the calmer of the storms, when we believe that the power of God is greater than the pain and the suffering of this world, that is when things begin to change. One pebble thrown into still waters can cause such a ripple effect. Can be seen from far away. When we join together and care for one another, when we let each other know that our lives are valuable to one another, that is when we will see the change occur. When we remember that God never created us to hate one another, but to love each other, when we remember that, our lives will change. When we remember that the battle is not against each other, but against the greater enemy, that is when the joy will enter back into our lives. But this can't happen if we're living just for ourselves. We have to live for each other. A tree isn't planted just for itself. It's there to freshen our air and provide shelter for the little animals that live in the forest. We also were created for one another. God created us to love. God created us to grow. God created us to change the world. One of us may not be able to do it, but when we work together, there will be change. When we join together, God will move.